Ireland feels damp and cold all the time. Like that, it just feels like a damp, cold place.
Is there a part of you that wants to be this guy instead of the guy that you are, Colin? Is that why you watch this and go like, I wish I was like this kind of tough Irish
man? If I was
6'6",
well, not like those guys, but yeah, if I was 6'6", 240, that'd be fun. I wouldn't want to be like, but it would be kind of fun going around punching people and just, drinking yourself into oblivion.
Don't have to deal with
electricity.
With the likes of, with wisecracks from the likes of Jim Norton anymore.
It would be good just to sock somebody when you're 6'6", though. I don't disagree.
Right. Don't make fun of this guy. He'll sock you in the mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep watching this. This is really,
I know you have to stop.
Yeah.
They're really fun to watch. Just pair it up with
watching
guys.
fights, for some reason, to men, it's just so addictive.
But you fought as a kid, right?
I was just thinking about while I was watching this. I remember my first real schoolyard where I was fighting this kid, and I watched Muhammad Ali. This is my mistake.
Uh-huh.
And I was watching Muhammad Ali. So I said, oh, you fight down here.
He had left hand dropped.
But my left hand was dropped here. My right hand was dropped here. But I didn't understand that Muhammad Ali was, first of all, I had to reach on everybody.
Right.
And second of all, he was moving the whole time. So I was fighting down here.
You weren't paying attention to the feet.
My whole face was covered in blood. For about 30 seconds. This kid was just punching me right in the face. I'm like, hey. And I kept thinking, like, Muhammad Ali, it's got to work. But all I had was Ali's down here stance.
You forgot that Ali was the fastest heavyweight ever.
And then he moved around. Like, I didn't understand the dynamics of it, the mechanics of it.
Rope-a-dope didn't work for you?
No.
Well, the last part of it did.
Yeah. So did you fight it? Like, I mean, the classic photo of you where you're all muscles and you're crushing, you're flexing.
Mustache.
Like, that seems like a guy who's ready to be a fighter,
No, but I was, I got in some fights, but I was never really a fighter, like real fighters, no. But I got in fights, but I wasn't great. I wasn't good at it,
Just a scrappy kid.
Yes, I was always involved. But what would happen was, when I was drunk, I always wanted to be 6'6", 240 or whatever. Sure. So when I was drunk, I'd be at the bar and my whole focus, and my friends would leave because they knew I'd be like, I was jealous of all the bouncers because they were so big.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like this, looking at. Then I'd take my cigarette, eventually drunk. And then the bouncers would kick the shit out. The only thing that saved me is when you're that drunk, people will hit you once and you go flying across. And
then they're kind of done hitting you.
Then they're like, yeah, unless you get back up and try to come back.
At what point in your life did your ego stop getting the better of you? I feel like every time you come in, you've got another story about being young and making a foolish decision. I mean, even when you're in show business, your ego's getting the better of you. When did that relax?
Well, that's kind of a big question, Sam.
Yeah.
Kind of a sweeping question.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I still feel I have an ego. So it's not like,
I guess you're entitled to.
Everyone has an ego, yeah.
But you've got accomplishments under your belt now. You don't have the type of ego where you look at a guy who's clearly bigger than you and you flick a cigarette at them.
Right, or write a script like Crocodile Dundee 2.
Yeah,
exactly. And just assume that I should be the lead.
Exactly.
Yeah. Slightly pompous.
Yeah.
Right. You're a little bit more aware of your place in the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The boxing, like the wanting to be big, that part of my ego, I was always just like that. I was always, like, I used to play basketball, and I swear I couldn't believe, like, I would go into these teams, like, I went to Erasmus High School to try out for their team.
What's Erasmus High School?
It was an all-black high school, an amazing team in Brooklyn, like, at that time. And I said, I want to play on them. I'm good. I wasn't even a starter. I was like the only white kid on the team in my junior high school, but I didn't even start. I was like sixth man. But even then, when I didn't start, I was like, coach, man, how can he not start me? You know what I mean?
But when did the self-awareness kick in? Because it seems like...
When will it?
Yeah.
It seems like growing up, you had zero self-esteem issues. If anything, the issue was it was too high.
Yeah.
I
had high self-esteem. I was one of those people.
But it's
everything I did, I'm like, yeah, I know the problem here is people don't understand. Just give me the ball more. Let me play more.
Right.
Well, how did your audition go?
So I go, for Erasmus.
You mean the tryout?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't call it an audition.
That's
showbiz Jimmy.
I'm not a sports guy.
No. You're more of an artist.
I go in, I try out for the old Brooklyn team, too. So it wasn't just one high school. It was the old Brooklyn team, which was all black in the middle of like Bed-Stuy, back when Bed-Stuy was Bed-Stuy. And I just show up on the bus. And I go, yeah, I'm going to go play. I'm going to try to get on the old Brooklyn team. I mean, and I'm there. It's all like hundreds of black guys. And I'm watching them play ball. And I'm going, yeah, these guys are good, And then I watch this one guy. I'm like, oh, man, this guy's better than me. And then I get on the court, and I was like so average. And afterwards, I was just like frustrated, like, man. And then I started, I guess right after that, after watching them play, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm not cut out for bad. Maybe I'm not going to be a great basketball.
Did they tell you right there and there you're not going to be welcomed into the team?
No, you just kind of know. Like they're focusing on a couple of kids,
Right.
And they're looking at everybody else like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean?
And are you depressed after that? You're like, I thought I was going to be this guy and I'm not? Or are you just like, I got many other skills that I can rely upon?
No, that depressed me because that was my dream. And then then I just started smoking cigarettes and drinking and, because I was like, I'm not going to train for something if people aren't going to appreciate my talent.
So it wasn't.
How tall are you?
At the time, I was even shorter, but I'm 5'10" and 3/4.
How tall were you then?
Probably 5'10"
and 1/4.
5'7".
Yeah.
Okay.
5'7". Not particularly strong.
You're slight of frame.
Slight of frame. Couldn't really jump. But, don't ask me. Because I'd play, what's that?
You had heart.
I had heart and I had delusions of grandeur.
That's it.
You're the type of guy that plays basketball with 2 knee wraps. Like you're my...
No, I'm not like those guys. No, I know those guys, yeah. They think, now I know, I don't even try to play.
But when did you become aware of your delusions of grandeur then? Like when were you able to reflect on things and go like, my God, I've been an ass?
I think that it comes in waves. Like I think the Crocodile Dundee 2 thing, the fact that I rewrote the whole script, when I started realizing that was like 10 years ago, I was like, oh my God, that's the kind of person that if they showed up on the set, I go, this is a mentally ill ass. I said, how can I be a normal comedian, respected by my peers, and still be that ass that would show up with a script and hand it in and think,
Is it the same type of an ass that would be at the birthday party of a legend and say, don't introduce me, I'll just walk up, they'll all know me?
Oh, yeah. Well, you mean for the De Niro roast?
Yeah.
What happened?
That I didn't think they would know me. That was a different kind of ass. That was a deluded. Yeah, that was a very deluded move.
Well, Tough Crowd was on the air at the time.
Tough Crowd was on it, but I didn't think they would know me.
Right.
I guess I thought I just had this idea in my head. Like I said, I mean, I was like, this is my moment to be friends with De Niro. Like I was doing stand up at the time and it was going really great on my show. So I was like, this is my moment to take it to the next level with Scorsese and De Niro and become the missing link in their
they're a little rat pack.
Yeah, like they need an Irish guy.
There's clearly a missing link.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be that. Like you've already concocted this thing in your head.
Right. Like, and so I showed up and you could not have had a cooler. It's not like I walked in nervous. Remember, in comedy, you have to work out your material. I had 3 pages of notes, none of which I worked out. I had 20 minutes of material. I hadn't done one joke on stage, any of it.
It was all for the birthday party.
Roast. Wow. I hadn't rehearsed it.
It wasn't a roast. It was a 60th birthday party.
It was a birthday party that I turned into a roast.
Yeah. You decided it was a roast.
Yeah.
I see. And because you're gonna be, that's how you're gonna charm them. It's like, most people don't bust my balls, but this guy's funny. You treated De Niro like Shitloaf treated you this morning.
Yes, I guess that's true.
And it's the lack of intro after all those years that makes me crazy. Like Grace De Niro's wife would have introduced him,
right,
and said, I hired this guy or asked this guy to come and make fun of Bob, and then the crowd would have been like, oh, De Niro's wife got a comedian to tease him a little bit. This is fun.
Right.
Because she would have smoothed it over and said, look what I got you.
Yes.
But
that would have been the better decision.
But after all those years of stand-up, how do you
put it mildly, yes.
You know that.
I do know that. I do know it. But I've always had a flair for, I was like, you know what? I don't go for like traditional, let's introduce. You know what I mean? Like I've always felt like it's a little too standard. I mean, obviously there's a reason those rules are in place.
Yes.
But I'm always
like using a mic.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there is something to be said for trying to mix it up. That was not the right venue.
How did you walk up and what did you just like, hello? How did you focus everybody and just they handed you a mic?
I walked up. I don't remember. I mean, I guess it was a mic. I don't remember if there was a mic. I just walked up. I put my notes down, which is always a nice touch when you're watching somebody put notes together. Mm-hmm. And then I just started Robert De Niro with my voice, which is not soothing to me. Robert De Niro, I'm blurting. And I tell you, even Robin Williams goes, I look up, I go, why is Colin Quinn? What's he saying up there? Robin Williams is a professional comedian. Right. The one person that would know what I was doing didn't know what I was doing.
Because it was just so sudden and abrupt. They just finished eating?
No, they're in the middle of like half eating and half talking. And it was like, the lighting was almost like dark, but not dark. It was like everything about it was just, there were windows and it was, you could see out the windows. And it was just, everything about it was just, if she gave me the intro and I had done what she wanted me to do, just do a quick impression of Robert De Niro and leave.
Is that what she wanted?
That's all she wanted.
Oh, because you did it on SNL.
I did it on SNL.
So did De Niro recognize you immediately from SNL? I'm sure he did.
I mean, I saw her whispering furiously into his ear, and like I said,
no, this is from the.
But the whole thing was like years later. I was like, you know what? It's all fine. It was just one of those things. They've had so many. They've been in 50 countries, 80 experiences. They don't even remember it. That's what I thought. Yeah. Then me and dumb Jim are sitting outside the cellar one night, and De Niro and his wife are there researching that. Abomination he made of the movie. And then
the one that Jim was in?
Yes. Truly horrendous. And
that's when you helped
I helped with a couple of lines.
Yeah.
You punched it up. Would you care to tell us what those lines are? You want to make fun of Crocodile Dundee too? I'd like to hear some of your zingers that made it into that movie.
Well, I have no problem with Bob's performance.
You enjoyed it.
No, I wound up, they did a reshoot, and they could only reshoot from one angle because of the budget, so they couldn't reshoot all the stand-up scenes. It was just a couple of lines at the end.
Well, that movie wasn't for you, though.
That movie?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. The first time I watched it, I was like, yeah, it's stand-up. At least I'll appreciate it. I almost fell asleep on my couch. Like, I lied down. I was so sad watching it. It made me so depressed. Not because of the arc of the character. Just because I was like, this is what they do with stand-up comedy. You know what I mean?
Right. So
there was no spot. There was no life.
Nothing.
No light to it.
Yeah.
There was nothing about it. It's like stand up. Just a guy screaming in the mic and
like you were sitting there going, "There's no way a stand up comedian had anything to do with this movie."
Exactly.
Right. I see.
Exactly. There's no way a stand up put his input in.
Right.
Except in the most like the most obsequious way, just going, "Hey Bob, I have an idea for a joke. Good one, Jimmy. I like it. You switch it." You know what, Bob? You're right. Two great minds think alike.
Well, you can lead a horse to water.
So you're sitting outside the Comedy Cellar, and De Niro shows up.
Yeah, De Niro shows up with his wife. So we're just talking for a couple of minutes, a little light banter.
Sure.
And then everything's fine, and they look fine. We're laughing, and then Jim goes, "Hey, remember the time Colin bombed at your birthday party?
That's good. That's good that you said
at your birthday party." And their faces, he'll tell you, they clouded over with such hate and memories. It's unbelievable.
It
right?
spoiled everything.
It spoiled everything.
It spoiled everything.
So it wasn't
changed the whole energy.
It wasn't like the way we can remember something going wrong fondly and go like, "Oh yeah, that was so embarrassing. Like this is fun."
That's what we thought it would be.
Right.
Yeah. I thought so too.
It was the same response the old man had when he recognized Alex in Clockwork Orange.
You mean after his
his wife had been raped and killed,
very
and the
badly
house
raped
had been
and
vandalized? Yeah.
Food, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was really ugly.
So do you have those moments now when you do something like that every now and then, because you're doing very, very well, but like, is there anything that you do now where it sort of creeps in like, oh, that's one of those instances where I'm making the wrong decision?
Sure.
That's one of those instances where I'm getting ahead of myself. My delusions of grandeur are coming back.
No, I mean, life kicks your ass where you try. I mean, right. I've tried so many things. Like I've done so much work that never got made that I don't even know if it's delusions, but it was like the confidence made me write all that stuff. But when it gets rejected, years. I mean, it's eventually you just like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.